New from Vinegar Syndrome is Curfew, a 1989 movie that I can honestly say I'd never heard of before. Which isn't anything unusual when it comes to Vinegar Syndrome movies, because discovering lost 80s classics, and I'm stretching the term classics, is something I like to do through Vinegar Syndrome. Now, Curfew was a movie that started off slow and built up to what became a rousing and interesting final hour of the movie. And at just over 80 minutes, it takes the first 20 minutes to really bed into the story of where it's going to. We have two brothers who are obviously deranged maniacs. They're in prison for committing some horrible atrocities, which seems to be the kind of largest prison cell I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And they get the chance to escape, and they take it. And the first thing they do when they escape is, well, go on a murdering rampage, but is ultimately look to head to this small town to get revenge on the people that put them away. The doctor that said they were criminally insane, the judge that gave them such a harsh term, and particularly the DA who rallied against them in such a manner that just caused them to be given such a large sentence.
You and your brother are on trial. You're accused of killing. Accused of killing a little girl, Bob.
I'm sorry, please.
Will you shut up? This is a private moment. This is family.
But there's a B story to this as well. We get the story of the DA's daughter, Stephanie, who at the start of the movie is going for a night out, hanging about with some kind of ropey people, some jocks that are really kind of cannon fodder for later in the movie, whom has to be home at a certain time. When she gets home, she discovers that her parents are tied up. The two brothers are in the house, and they're in for what seems to be one hell of a night. And that is when the movie really kicks into gear.
He's gone.
It's about 25 minutes, half an hour into the movie, and from then on you get a really interesting home invasion movie. But it's not your typical home invasion movie. This one is really quite adept at filling the sequences with suspense, with tension, with threat of violence and death. These two brothers are quite insane and very dangerous, and it becomes apparent throughout the movie that it's going to be very tough for these people to escape as they kind of torture and berate them, making a makeshift prison within the house as so to torture the DA. It's just such a fun movie for a low budget film.
Thanks, Walter.
You got to imagine there's limited resources, limited money, but they make something that's really creative and rather interesting. I kind of liked the brothers. I grew into their performance as well. At the start of the movie, it felt a little bit broad. Some of the facial expressions from the tougher one was laughable, and the kind of innocence, silliness of the younger brother was a little bit grating at the start. But throughout the movie, you get more of an idea of their personalities, you get more of an idea of their traits, and come to understand the dynamic between both of these brothers.
She said she would, Ray. She said she'd be with me.
Sure she did, Bobby Joe. You say that to all the boys.
Which makes it all the more interesting when you get into the movie and their ultimate revenge plot against the DA. There's lots of fun moments in this that are just kind of jaw-droppingly awful yet entertaining. There's a moment where Stephanie is going out for a date. She has a skirt on, and she's walking by the judge's house, who berates her for going out in such an awful fashion, offering her a pair of trousers. It's so like unexpected, but just laugh out loud funny.
Can I offer you a glass of lemonade?
No, thank you.
Well, in that case, can I offer you a pair of pants?
Oh.
The kind of jock guys were annoying and grating and kind of uninteresting characters that I wanted to see die horrible deaths, because it's the kind of movie we're in, and they kind of come back into the movie in the latter half in a surprising manner. I felt that the two brothers' performances were at first a little bit off kilter. Didn't quite land for me and felt a little bit too broad, but as the movie went on, we settled into it. But it's the final, I'd say, half of the movie where you really get this idea of suspense, of tension, of threat that really captures a mood and an atmosphere within the movie that really elevated this one for me.
It's time to close the books, Walter. Got any last requests?
I really enjoyed Curfew. I thought it was one of the better Vinegar Syndrome movies, and to start off with, I was a little bit worried about this one, but yeah, I kind of grew into it. I'd love to know your thoughts on Curfew. Let me know in the comment box below whether you liked it, loved it, hated it. Yeah, I was kind of meh on it. Yeah, anyway, I want to know. Of course, there's more content up here, and if you have a brief second, just click that like button down there. It's amazing. It does all kinds of wonderful, magical things that you might not even know about, but it does happen. And if you feel like supporting me, you can join the membership program or the Patreon program, which really does help keep this channel up and running. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.